Hey, what's up guys? This is Damian James. I am in the Beat Lab, and this is Anatomy of the Track. So just wanted to show you guys a little bit about the production process, kind of behind the scenes, some of the tools that I use and the techniques and the whole beat making sequence and structure and how I build the tracks from scratch, from nothing to a final product. So here's a track I made. It's called Hip Hop and Jazz. This is from the Groove Fidelity EP Volume 2, now playing everywhere on all music platforms. Check it out. So this track basically started with a sample that I found. It was a nice jazzy, groovy, vibey sample with a thick bass line, and I heard it and it resonated with me right away. So it pretty much sounded like this in the initial sample that I listened to. And I thought that was cool, but it was a little too high pitched. I didn't like the range, the octave, so I pitched it down a little bit, pitched it a little more. That's the one that stuck right there. So once I had that, I wanted to build off of that, so I just had to come up with some other sounds that were kind of in that range and kind of in that style. You know, a lot of electric keys, some kind of Rhodes sounds, and anything that would complement the bass line. So I messed around, came up with some electric piano sounds. And again, you have to fall into that same key so everything's in the right octave, in the right range. So that one goes good with the original sample, and then I just needed something to put at the beginning of the track, a little splash of butter to give the whole thing a little flavor and complete the loop and the melody, so I can loop that and then build upon that. So another sound. Again, that's the same range that I'm sticking with, so I got all three sounds together, and when you layer them together, they sound a little bit like this. So now, once I had my original sound and melody that I wanted to work with, I looped that, and then the next part of the process is to add some drums. So basically came up with a pretty simple kick, hi-hat, snare pattern, and that sounds like this. And then I added a few more sounds on top of that. I like to layer my hi-hats, so added a little extra hi-hat. And then another hi-hat on top of that. And then added a little open hi-hat in between. So then once I added all the drum tracks together, the additional hi-hats, the drum loop by itself, it sounds like this. I love that open hi-hat. I think it's really important to add open hi-hats that fit the vibe and the mood of the track that you're going for. In this case, it's a track inspired by jazz. You know, jazz is kind of dusty and dark and vintage and kind of a rustic sound. So I wanted like a dusty, dirty open hi-hat on that. So that's what I put on there. So now that I got my main melody, my loop, and my drums on there, the next part of the track is just layering things in, building it out, finding some cool sounds that fit with what you already have. And in this case, I went directly to what I knew was going to work for this track, which is jazzy, vibey, kind of moody, groovy. I went with the Rhodes sounds, the Rhodes piano. So a lot of vintage sounds with a lot of echo on there, a lot of reverb, a lot of chorus, a lot of effects. And I just started playing around with different sounds that I found. once I found some additional sounds that I liked that I thought would work well on the track, I recorded those, added a bunch of electric piano, some vintage Rhodes keys with some effects on it, chorus and delay and reverb, some bells and whistles and jingles here and there, and I put everything together with the drums and the original sound, the original melody, and sounds a little something like this. So now that I had all the musical components and elements completed, everything is recorded and layered and sequenced, the music is done, there was one last thing I wanted to do on this track, and that was to add some vocals. So I had to dig really deep to try to find something that would jive, that would complement the jazziness, the spirit of this track, and I found the perfect vocals for this, courtesy of the one and only, the God, Rakim, and the words that he expresses, they resonated with me 100% during the production process of this song. So I added the vocals over the beat, and it sounded a little something like this.
Most of the times when I get in the studio and hear a beat, I just, kind of let the beat tell me what to do. You know what I mean? This beat here was just, hip hop and jazz energy beat. Didn't really have too much scenery on it, so I just felt it was something that I could have some fun with. You know what I mean?
So there you have it, that's hip hop and jazz. That's a wrap on this edition of Anatomy of the Track in the Beat Lab. Hip hop and jazz, go check it out. It's available across all digital music platforms. My name is Damian James, Damian James Music. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I will see you right back here in the Beat Lab.